Hey guys, it's Mariya. Welcome back to my channel. You might notice that I'm in a different setting. I have a beautiful green background today, and that's because I'm at the Orford Music Festival here in Magog, Quebec. The Orford Music Festival is an amazing festival that happens every single summer, and it's a fantastic place to meet new musicians, make new friends, and of course work with esteemed faculty professors from all over the world. So I have been here for 1 week. Unfortunately, I'm leaving tomorrow, but this past week I was in the class of Dr. Sarah Davis Buchner. She is so amazing, such an inspiration, such a legend. So it's just been such an amazing week. My heart is so full. Then of course we're in this beautiful nature that you can see behind me. So it's just been such an amazing experience. Which brings us to the topic of today's video, which is how to stay in shape as a musician during the summer. So this is on the minds of a lot of my colleagues, fellow musicians, because especially those of us studying at conservatories or universities, our semesters are usually September to April, or September to May, September to late May at the latest. So either way, we have a good chunk of time, either 3 or 4.5 months, where we don't have strict schedules, we don't have mandatory lessons or classes to help keep us accountable, keep us motivated. So it's very important to have internal reasons, but also I will talk about external resources that you can help yourself with to stay motivated and stay progressing with your skills during the summer. Depending on what you make of it, the summer can actually be your most productive time because you actually don't have the stresses of weekly or daily homework, classes, commutes, etc. And you can really focus on, making a good chunk of progress towards either your next year's recital goals or masterclass, or performances, competitions, applications, etc. So my first tip is to find that internal drive, that internal motivation, because as a musician, life and your development, your professional development is so much more than just worrying about the next assignment, the next masterclass performance, your year-end recital, or your next deadline set by the institution where you're currently studying. In order to fully develop and grow, you have to shift your mindset towards not doing things necessarily to impress your peers or to get a good mark in a class or to impress your professor. Of course, all of those things are important in their own respect, or can be important, but at the end of the day, in the bigger picture, you have to categorize every single experience that you plan into your musical journey and see how that's going to pay dividends into your professional growth on a very large scale. Being a musician is a lifelong journey, a lifelong path, and we're going to be forever students, forever learning. And so realizing, just zooming out and seeing that these school deadlines or even these school performances, however useful they are, they're not going to be forever. And when you're in your mid-20s or early 30s and you're done school, there's still so much of your life that you're going to experience as a musician. And so all of these experiences that you set up for yourself will really add up, and depending on how you plan them out, they can either help or hinder your developmental process. So take some time to yourself and figure out what is it you really want out of being a musician. Because the beautiful thing about being a musician is no matter what path you take, it goes very deep, and you can spend a lifetime learning about it. Some other fields, just to give you some ideas of what classical piano can branch into. Conducting, you can do teaching and pedagogy, composition, improvisation, and of course solo performance. All of these things require so much study, practice, and discovery, really. And then all of them need a high level of dedication from you. So the earlier you find what your heart is telling you you want to do, the earlier you can specialize and really be the best you can in that particular field. So to summarize that first point, you personally need to be invested in your own growth. It's not to please anybody else around you, because that will fade. But the fire inside, that pushes you to be a better musician will just keep getting bigger and bigger. So find the motivation and drive within yourself to keep improving. My second tip is to spend some time picking out new repertoire that you like. So there are really two categories of repertoire. There's your must list and your wish list, and those two change during your life as a musician, but they still in essence are the same two lists. So your wish list is just purely pieces that you've heard other people play, you just really connect with them, you love those pieces. I keep a list of all the pieces I hear during the year that I would like to try when I'm a little bit less stressed during the summer, and then my summertime is dedicated to taking that list apart and then seeing which of these pieces are realistic to fit into next year's program and which I will have to save for later. And the second category is your must list. So growing up in middle school and high school, this was my RCM exam repertoire. Then in my undergrad, mostly all of my recital pieces were must list pieces because I needed that guidance from my professors. So I, fully asked them to guide me in choosing new repertoire. And as I'm getting older, I'm starting to see, the areas and the type of music that I'm more interested in. And so I'm really zoning in and giving a bigger slice of my yearly repertoire to my wish list than I had previously. But still, you have to have a must list because there are certain pieces certain composers that you've never touched before, certain techniques that you would like to work on, some weak spots in your musical technique that can be helped using certain repertoire. So the must list I would categorize as pieces that are, you like, but you're not necessarily crazy about them. You just understand that this is a musical or technical necessity for you at this time. And picking out new repertoire for the year really feels like back to school shopping, like that really exciting feeling where you get to pick out all new highlighters or all new pencils, and they're all fresh and you're so excited to use them. During the year your crayons kind of get a little bit muddled up, and they're not as bright and shiny, but every single, end of the summer you're excited to buy all this new school supplies, and that's a very similar feeling to picking out all new repertoire before you start again in the fall. Something that can help you decide is just to brainstorm. Take a sheet of paper and write down all of your wish list pieces. Don't even think about how long they are or if you will have time for all of them. Just write them all out, anything that comes to your mind. And all of the must list pieces, any composers that you've never played before, any pieces that you figure you should probably have in your repertoire. And again, don't worry about the time constraints or time limits. Just write them all out. And then it's kind of like picking a beautiful bouquet out of the colors or out of the flowers that you have in front of you. So then you can start to think, what can my recital theme be for the year? Is it going to be French music? Is it going to be, impressionistic music? Maybe Ukrainian music? One of my good friends did her recital on all pastoral music. So that kind of spanned many, many centuries. That was very, very exciting to hear. So once you have all your ideas out, try to pick the ones that can come together in a common theme. And that's going to be your new bouquet of repertoire for the year. My third tip is to plan regular lessons into your summer schedule. So whether that's asking your previous teacher to, give you a few lessons every now and then during the summer, or your current teacher if you're currently in a program, asking how flexible they would be with giving you summer lessons, or even traveling to some future professors that you might like to work with if you're looking to apply for a new program and who you want to study with. Really, the idea here is just to keep that motivation and accountability going during the summer. Because the thing about disciplined and efficient practicing is that the willpower is not always there. The excitement of, that brand new shiny piece that you haven't started yet will wear down once you realize realize, as we all do with every single piece we ever learned, after you realize how much work actually goes into it, the shininess and excitement like dulls down a little bit. So you do need, somebody on the outside just keeping you accountable. If you know that you have a lesson with your professor in 2 weeks from now and you promise them that you're going to learn, the first movement or first 2 movements of your sonata, it really helps with motivation. Whereas if you have very general goals for the summer, like learn 20 to 30 minutes of new repertoire, you may trick yourself into thinking that you've made more progress than you really have. Having lessons helps you make sure that you're really hitting those short-term goals, which then will build into you hitting your long-term goals as well. And my 4th tip is to apply to festivals. So like I said at the beginning of this video, I'm currently at the Orford Music Festival, and festivals in general are just such fantastic ways to keep your inspiration, motivation going throughout the summer. Not only does it give you that kick in the butt to prepare the repertoire that you are going to play for either professor that week or those months, but also as you're there, just the amount of people that you meet, the broad range of skills that you get to see from other musicians, it's very, very impressive, very inspirational, and just makes you want to run to the practice room. Make sure that you're keeping up with all of these other cool people that are doing such awesome things. So if you're not sure which festivals are out there, which festivals would be a good fit for you, which professors you would benefit from studying with, go to your professor, go to your teacher and ask them. You'd be surprised with how many festivals are really out there and the broad range of skills that you can develop at these festivals. This week at the Orford Music Festival, I got to participate in the student recital that they host every single Thursday, and it was an incredible experience to play for people on their beautiful stage, lovely piano. And what was different this year actually is they asked us to announce our piece and speak a little bit about it. So that's something that we don't always get to do as classical musicians, but it's becoming more trendy and more of a requirement. So that's just another skill that you can develop and have in your toolbox. So really, life as a musician is just collecting all of these experiences so that when life throws you, a curveball, or you have a last minute audition, you have a last minute performance, it's not hitting you like a ton of bricks. You've already done this wide range of activities that are either exactly what you need or resemble something that you would have to do. And so it just makes you more versatile and more strong as a player. The other great thing about festivals, especially those that have open master classes, is that you get to hear so many other musicians play. You get to hear what the professors have to say about their playing, how they can, surpass their current level and get to the next one. And it really gives you a fresh perspective on a lot of issues or questions that you might have had in your previous year at your university or wherever you're studying, because the year can get a little bit monotone, especially when you're in an institution. You're constantly seeing the same people, the same setting, and no matter how amazing the program is, I think the brain just gets used to it and you don't think outside the box as much. So it's so important just get out of the setting that you're used to. Get out of your comfort zone and do new things, whether that's in a new setting or with new people or all of the above. Just get out of your comfort zone and get those creative juices flowing again. And my final tip kind of overlaps with the previous one, and that's to have competitions and applications worked into your summer schedule. So competitions and applications really force you to polish a large amount of repertoire as close to perfection as you can, and to get it ready to a point that you haven't necessarily brought it to before. At a festival, depending on the state of your development of the repertoire, you can bring pieces to your professor that are not quite polished, not quite performance level. In fact, that's how a lot of students plan their festivals is they use it as motivation to get the pieces to, a certain basic level so that they can then work from there. Another type of music student would just bring really polished pieces to festivals, and that way they can take advantage of all the performance opportunities. Again, it all depends on your internal goals, so that's why it's so important to take that first step, find your internal drive, your internal motivation before you go into any of these other steps, because with all of these tools, it really is what you make of it. One person can go to a competition or festival and have a completely different result and different goals for it than another person, and that doesn't mean that one or the other is right. What's most important is that the short-term goals that you set for yourself are working together to build to your long-term goals. And of course, like festivals, competitions are a fantastic place for networking, to expand your friend list, so to speak, to meet new friends, meet new musicians. Of course, after you're done a competition, you can speak to the jury members, and it's great to have a new, fresh perspective on your repertoire. But competitions are more so for seasoned repertoire that you feel very, very comfortable with, and it's really to practice your performance skills more than anything. So it's important to keep in mind those differences when you're planning what you have to do in the summer. And that pretty much covers it. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. I do want to remind you that if you're the type of musician that easily gets overwhelmed with too many deadlines, or if you had an especially stressful year, you do want to take some time to wind down. It's very important to also listen to your body and take as much time off as you need. But that being said, a lot of us tend to trick ourselves into thinking that we need more time off than we really do. And sometimes, diamonds are made under pressure. So you do have to push yourself to get out of your comfort zone and doing the musician things again. So at your discretion, try to have your summer full of these beautiful experiences that will keep you motivated and keep you going all the way into the fall. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you found it helpful. If you liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and if you want to watch some more of my videos, you can do that right here. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.